What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for as time progresses. I'm also going to talk about why tomorrow is going to be another important day, as we have some very important data coming out in the morning, and we have more data coming out in the afternoon that could cause some volatility. I'm also going to be breaking down the options chains and then breaking down what they suggest for the market for tomorrow, what you should be watching for as time goes on. But before I break down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. So anyways, why is tomorrow going to be a very big day? As a reminder, okay, an hour before the market opens, we have the PCE data report coming out. This is very similar to CPI, and this is going to affect the Fed's policies. It's going to determine and at least play a role in dictating the Fed's decision to whether they cut rates sooner than expected, or if they end up continuing to keep rates elevated and just keep them high for many, many months and months and months until they start cutting even later. So that's going to be very important for their decision. Tomorrow, PCE year over year is coming out. We want this to be 2.8 to 2.9%. If it's below that or close to that, it's going to be a little bullish for the markets. If it's too hot, that will be bearish. And for core PCE, we want this to be 3.3 to 3.4%. If it's below this, once again, decent for the markets. If it's too hot, it's going to be kind of bearish. So watch this very carefully. We'll have to see how this goes. Now, that's going to be what's coming out an hour before the market opens. So expect the market to gap up or gap down. And then after that, 30 minutes after the market opens, we have more data coming out. We have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, new home sales, the 5-year inflationary expectations, and the Michigan Current Conditions Report. So what this means is that we have all this data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. that could lead to some more volatility 30 minutes after market open. And that's pretty much it for the day. There's not a whole ton coming out. Now, when it comes to PCE, when it comes out, this might be as expected or better than expected, because for the same month, the CPI report was actually quite decent. CPI dropped, but core CPI was as expected, very close to what we saw from before. It didn't change much. It's very, very sticky. So that tells me that there's a very good chance that core PCE is going to be close to expectations, maybe like 3.4 to 3.3%. But there is a better chance that PCE overall is going to be uh, maybe a little bit better than expected at like 2.8%. So this could, and this does favor the market kind of holding up a bit, maybe trying to pop here and there. I don't think this is going to cause the market to squeeze like insanely. This alone, I mean. Another factor that's going to be important for that would be the options chain. Could the options chain cause a short squeeze? Well, to some extent, yes, because we have just over 500,000 calls and we have over 1.2 million puts expiring tomorrow with a 2.3 puts to call ratio. Market makers, as of recent, have been trying to squeeze shorts as much as possible. So be careful for that, especially going into tomorrow. Now, when it comes to the specific options chain and looking at volume and other pieces of data like that, I just want to call out that right now, okay, on the call side, this is going to be for tomorrow's expiration. I'm going to be looking at the volume. We have very high volume on this 472 strike. We also saw a big open interest change right over there. There's also a big open interest change at 476, which I find kind of suspicious. But I'm not seeing as much volume there, so it's kind of mixed. And then on the put side, I'm seeing the open interest just decreasing like crazy. So puts are being closed for the 470 strike and 471. That suggests that the market could be anticipating a little bit of more upside than what we thought from before, which means that there could be either the market kind of closes above max pain or like well above it. And it's less likely we're going to see a big drop tomorrow, a big, big, big crash, unless something really bad happens. So that's like what this is kind of suggesting. Now, with the fear and greed index approaching extreme greed, we'll see if we get a decent rally or not. Here's what I think could play out. So I think tomorrow, if we're bullish, for a bullish move, you want to see if it could hold above 474. If we do so, you're going to be watching this previous high for resistance. If we're bearish, you want to see this thing basically lose 471.5, like this area right here. If we lose that, 470 is next. If that fails us, we're going to be sinking. What do I think could play out? Honestly, guys, it's very difficult for me to predict this as it depends on economic data, which I can't truly predict with 100% accuracy. So what I would tell you, what I think is very probable is the market might gap up and try to push a little bit into open. Retest this 474 area. Maybe it pops a little bit higher. Who knows? Because we have this imbalance around 475. We push up a little bit higher, then we kind of slow down as the day goes on. But what I'm not too sure about is I don't know if the market will get kind of some kind of like sell off before the weekend, or if the market kind of just hovers around the range. My best prediction would be that we're going to close very close to max pay, maybe a little bit above it with all these puts expiring. So I find that to be very probable. We kind of like pop, then we drop as time goes on, but we don't tank back down. We kind of pop and drop and close to max pain, very close to where we are right now. So that's what I think is very probable looking at this chart and looking at the options chain on SPY. Now, just to be safe, that's also going to depend on PCE data. I can't predict the data perfectly, guys, so just be very, very carefully. So make sure you watch the levels I called out too, and we'll see how it goes. For the QQQ, we have 408s to be watching for. If we break this, it's nice and balanced at 409.5. If we fail to break it, there could be a retracement coming back down to about 406. If that fails us, there's 405.7 and 404. My gut is telling me that we might see an attempt to push up again. Uh, the reason for that is because of how PCE and CPI have been very correlated for the last couple of months, and CPI was quite decent the last time it came out. So we could see an attempt to break 408. If we break this, we're going to be looking at this imbalance at this 409.6 area. I think it might pop a little bit. That's going to be my best prediction because of the fact that PCE is very manipulated. They might just try to squeeze shorts. Then we might see this thing slow down as the time goes on, back down to 408. Maybe it goes a little bit lower. Who knows? Then it pops back up and we just close very flat, just like that of SPY. I think that's very, very probable. What about for Tesla? How do I think Tesla is going to move? This is one's a little bit tricky to predict because Tesla is trying to uptrend again, make its way back up. If we do gap up, going into tomorrow, Tesla could make an attempt for 256, but we'll have to see if this could break this or not. That's what's a little bit tricky to predict. We're going to be watching to see if Tesla could break that level. If we fail to break it, it could reject and just kind of trade sideways in the 250s and close very flat. Or it could, if it breaks that, we could get one more push up for like 258 and then make our way back into this range. See how we had this range above the yellow trend line? We could be making our way back in if we manage to break the resistance. But that's going to depend on tomorrow if PCE pushes us up. PCE may boost Tesla a bit, but I'm not sure if it's going to break this resistance. So just watch and see. If it breaks above the yellow trend line and closes above this, we're bullish. If it fails to do so and rejects, we could actually turn back down. We'll just have to watch this test tomorrow. That's going to be very tricky as it depends on news and stuff. But that's what I see for tomorrow. It depends a lot on the data. For Nvidia, in my opinion, Nvidia is looking like it could make an attempt to push up one more time. It could try to grab liquidity right here. We also have this imbalance up here at like 497. Uh, could Nvidia try to break to the upside? Yes, we have to see how it reacts to like 490. In my opinion, it is technically starting to try to push higher. And if we get a decent PC, we could temporarily see Nvidia get back up to like 492 and maybe even 495. But we'll see if PCE leads to like a big rejection and we come back down close to where we are, or if we just, continue to hold up. So I do see a pop coming on Nvidia, then eventually a drop, but then we'll see if we could close above where we are or if we close very flat. But I see a pop and drop move being very probable, at least for tomorrow, and we'll just have to see how it goes. For Apple, we might see this thing pop and then drop as well. Apple got a decent close. I mean, it's not that horrible. It's still just barely below 195. I think it might fill this imbalance, come up to 195.79 tomorrow, and then come back down and trade very flat in this range. And I think it might close very flat, maybe very flat from where we are. That's what I find very probable. So that's what I'm seeing for Apple as well. Anyways, I'm just going to be very quick with the ending of this video, guys. The market is very tricky. It's full of manipulation. Let me show you this, okay? This candlestick looked bullish. We pumped a little bit, then we came back down very hard. This looked bearish. And what happened? We just went right back up. Now the candlestick looks bullish. It's insane, guys. Absolutely insane price action. For the Russell 2000, I think just like SPY in the market, we could see this thing gap up and go a little bit higher. It could try to retest this 201.5 area. And if we break that, we're going to be looking to see if it could try to get to 202. My gut tells me it's going to test that, then reject, and kind of trade sideways and close very flat. For Microsoft, this is starting to show a little bit more life because we also have this big imbalance here. Could be pushing up for 375, then reject, and then trade sideways from there. I think it's going to likely do something like that. AMD was looking bearish, but instead got a nice bounce off our 50 EMA. So now we're going to be looking for an attempt to test 140. I think it might kind of trade sideways. You're not really doing a whole lot. It might just remain range bound for the time being. It might not do a whole lot tomorrow. For the VIX, yesterday it looked like it was getting ready to break out. Now it's coming back down. We're going to be watching to see if this thing could bounce off 13.33 or the 50 EMA or fail. That's going to be very key for tomorrow. So we'll just have to see. Dollar actually got a rejection, which is so ironic. It was just trying to bounce yesterday. Now it's back down, back and forth and back and forth. Wild price action. Is the dollar about to bounce off support? It's at support right now. We'll have to see if it bounces or not. If it fails to bounce, the market could push higher, and it's all going to depend on PCE. So it's at support right before PCE. Google managed to hold up very nicely. If we look at the daily time frame, give me 1 second, guys. Whoops, I went to the weekly. The weekly is looking decent, but the daily is looking relatively strong on the daily. Looks like it could try to retest 143 now, but it depends on PCE. So it might retest 143, then reject. So we'll be watching to see if that ends up happening. So watch that very carefully. It could retrace towards 140 and close very close to that. A pop and drop. Amazon could backtest 155 or so, maybe a little higher, then come back down and close just slightly green. I find that to be very probable. I think Meta is going to do the same thing. Decent looking candle, still pushing. Could push up a little higher, get very close to 360, then reject, come back down, and close kind of flat. So once again, guys, I think there's a good chance the market might try to gap up and try to push up thanks to PCE, but then it might cool off intraday. And the reason for that could be because of other pieces of data and also because of some selling because of Christmas. But then at the end of the day, they might manipulate the market and try to push it again and close us above max pain on SPY. And we might get a decent close. We might see the market just try to barely hold up. And we might see like the ending not be that fun, but I still think the market could still try to hold up. So looking at the option chain on SPY, I just want to be clear, guys. This suggests that we're not going to get a massive sell-off tomorrow. That's what it suggests. I can't promise anything because of how crazy the market is, but that's what that's basically suggesting for now. And we'll have to see if the market could push up more or not. For the last few Fridays, the market is closed either above max pain or it's just continued to push up. So there's a good chance we might get a decent close. I do favor that as closing close to max pain, if not above it, on SPY. But then we'll have to see what PCE also causes in the meantime. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Hopefully this video was very helpful. I made this one very quick, very simple. And I just want the best for everyone out there. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and peace out.